I wanted to go over one of the legends in the sport of SMX, a name that would come up in anyone's top 3 riders of all time. And those who watched his skills on a motorcycle were left speechless, knowing they just witnessed something special. A man who contributed so much to the sport that he earned the nickname the fastest man on the planet. I'm talking about the one, the only, James Stewart.
Legends never die, we live inside your heart, screaming through the silence, seeming in the dark. When the world gets heavy and you're losing your way, just remember our voices will never fade away. Fade away.
Because I'm a new fan to SMX, I've been going back and looking at the history of the sport. And James Stewart has always been one of my favorite riders, and I can't imagine how it would have been to be a fan at that time and actually see him ride. So you guys will have to let me know in the comments about how it was at that time. So let's get into it. James Stewart Jr. was born on December 21st, 1985 in Bartow, Florida. His dad, Big James, was a racer and introduced him to a motorcycle early.
The day that James came home from the hospital, before I ever took him in the house, I crunk up my KX250 and I give him a ride on the bike. He was 3 days old, and I kind of eased off the clutch and took off, and then I was one-handed holding him and riding the bike.
James Stewart Jr.'s nickname growing up was Bubba, and many people only knew him as Bubba Stewart. His family sacrificed a lot to go racing when James was growing up, often mentioning how they had to put off paying some bills in order to afford to go racing that week. Well, his hard work started paying off as he excelled in the amateur level.
Young James Stewart Jr., a rider we're seeing and hearing from more and more lately.
Was there any tight times out there for you, partner?
No.
What are you going to do the third moto?
Win it.
And as a black rider in a white-dominated sport, he and his family experienced racism many times.
Oh, 100% it's a white sport. We was told we wasn't welcome from the beginning. And we was called names right out the rip. I remember driving to Alabama. We then drove all night to get there, and we'll pull up to the gate, and the gate person will say, "We don't race niggers here." And I was like, okay, that's fine with me, but I come here to race a motorcycle. I told little James, we're gonna kick they butt, and we're gonna kick they butt good.
Like many black professionals, he had to work twice as hard to get offered the same opportunities as his white counterparts. And that's exactly what he did.
Oh, we kicked their butt. We grounded them.
And he seems to be from another world. James Stewart, yeah, from another planet? I don't know.
He won more than any amateur rider in the history of the sport, with 84 wins and 11 Loretta Lynn titles between 1990 and 2001. No other amateur rider would come close to this record until years later, with perhaps Adam Cianciarulo. In 1994, a now iconic motocross video called Terra Firma featured some interviews with young up-and-coming amateurs at Loretta Lynn's. This featured an 8-year-old James Stewart.
Who here's got a girlfriend?
Me?
You got a girlfriend?
Yeah.
What's her name?
I tell you.
And it just so happens that the other 2 amateurs in the video with him were Ricky Carmichael and Travis Pastrana. All 3 of these kids would grow up to become legends in the sport. Here in this video, he mentions his goals for the future.
When I turned pro, I kind of actually wanted to try to race at 125 East Coast, and hopefully I want to win a couple of championships in that class and go up to the 250 and kind of dominate like McGrath does now, so I plan to dominate.
And he would go on to accomplish pretty much every one of those things. 2002. James Stewart eventually went pro in 2002 when he was just 16 years old. Riding for Factory Kawasaki, he raced on the 125 West Coast Championship. He earned his first victory by round 2.
Your second pro race, you get your first ever victory. You have already got your first professional record. You are now the youngest winner ever in EA Sports Supercross.
I'm so happy right now. I want to cry right now.
And he looked like he was going to win the championship as he had some good results and had the points lead going into round 7 in Dallas.
16-year-old James Stewart has come to Dallas, Texas with a 10-point lead in the 125 West Division.
This is where his rookie mistakes started to show, as he crashed early in the race and went to last place. And he worked his way all the way up to about 7th.
Look out! The 16-year-old phenom is on a charge. There's Tedesco, number 45. 259 is James Stewart. Oh, James Stewart goes down! Looked like he slid into Tedesco. Tedesco pops him on the back of the helmet.
But he got back up quickly and tried to make up ground. And he ended up crashing again.
Oh, and Stewart goes down again. Look.
But he got back up just to immediately crash again and get stuck under his bike.
Oh no.
And he's down again.
And he can't get up. No, he's okay. He's disgusted.
And so is his dad. James Stewart Sr. has seen enough.
No, he's leaving footprints in that cement.
Stewart finished 16th that race, leaving in a huge point deficit. He went on to finish first in the next 2 races, but it wasn't enough and ended up finishing second in the Supercross Championship by only 7 points. Although this was disappointing for him, for a rookie season that was phenomenal. And then he went on to the 2002 motocross season, where he dominated. He ended up winning 10 out of the 12 rounds, and he was so dominant that he started playing with his food. At Unadilla, he got a good start, but then slowed down on purpose to let his rival Chad Reed pass him.
Stewart takes a look over his shoulder. He is not going 100%. Now he's almost stopped David. He's just giving him the lead.
Chad Reed must be like, what the?
But why? It was just to prove that he could beat him, even if he didn't get a good start. He turned it on again and quickly passed him back.
James Stewart slows down, gives Reed the lead, and then takes it right back. What a cruel rookie this kid is.
What was going on?
Well, I mean, I've been getting really good starts here lately, and everybody's been saying that Chad Reed can beat me straight up, and I just wanted to prove to everybody that he can't do it.
In the end, he was obviously awarded the 125 Motocross Championship. After he went pro, Stewart started to realize racism still had a hold on the sport.
It didn't hit me until my first year in pro that I was different from everybody else. I mean, if you would ask me, I probably said I was white. You know, people would boo me, you know, for getting second and, you know, cheer a third place guy who was up in, you know, stayed up north. And, you know, I hear people call me N-word. You know, they was hanging over the fence, flicking me off every time I came around the track.
2003. In 2003, he was determined to make up for last year. He won 7 of the first 8 races to end up winning the 125 Supercross West Championship a round early.
Sweet success, James Stewart, the 125 West Coast champion.
Yeah, you know, Cameron, you know, with everybody, my mom and dad, Tony Haynes, everybody's been backing me up, my team. You know, it feels good to come back here at Dallas where I lost the championship at and come and win it again, so.
The final race was in Las Vegas, and he even put his #1 plate on to show everyone he was the champion. But then disaster struck.
His speed is so incredible.
Oh! And James Stewart has just launched off his bike. A horrific accident. The crew will all be down there. They're going to protect him first. And David, this is an absolute disaster. He is moving, but barely.
He ended up breaking his collarbone and had to miss the first 4 rounds of the 2003 motocross season. And when he came back for round 5 at Buzz Creek, people were starting to wonder if he would be able to bounce back. Well, he won the first moto easily.
James Stewart doesn't miss a beat. Picks up the victory here in moto #1. Welcome back, Bubba.
Okay, that answers that question. But then the second moto started.
Back in the back of the pack, James Stewart goes down.
He crashed at the starting line.
James Stewart is in dead last, 40th place.
Okay, so maybe he wasn't at 100% yet, but at least he can get back up and salvage a few points, right? Well, what happened then will live in motocross history. He passed people like they were standing still.
So just like that, he picks up 2 spots.
He's already in 17th.
Unbelievable. Comes 259. James Bubba Stewart, look how quick he's on the throttle and gets by.
He's moving up through the pack faster than anything I've ever seen.
He made his way through every guy, clicking off laps. And going up the iconic Henry Hill, he made up time by doing a move that no one else had ever thought of, leaving even the announcers speechless.
Passing you so... Oh, all right, I got a what?
Oh my goodness.
It would later be called the Bubba Scrub. Different than just a whip, The scrub keeps your bike lower over jumps to keep the power to the ground sooner to go faster. Well, he perfected the scrub so much that the move is forever associated with his name. He went from dead last to winning the race.
Yes, and there it is. Your winner from last to first, James Bubba Stewart. Welcome back to the circuit, Mr. Stewart.
Frankly, I think that's badass.
And he went on to win every remaining motocross race in that season. But due to his late start, he only finished third in the championship. But everyone knew who the best motocross racer was that year. The Bubba Scrub became his trademark move throughout his career to go faster, and other riders had to learn it if they wanted to stay competitive. 2004. 2004 was the year of dominance on the 125. Because he won the West Championship last year, he decided to ride the East Supercross Championship this year. He won every race he participated in, winning 7 out of the 8 rounds. He didn't race round 6 because he crashed during practice, but came back and still won his second Supercross Championship in the lights class. And for the 2004 motocross season, he was also almost undefeated, winning 23 of the 24 motos. A clutch failure after crashing prevented him from finishing the second moto at Redbud. So he obviously ended up winning the motocross championship too. And what made it even more impressive is that he did it on a 125 two-stroke, when most of the other riders had already switched over to the 250 four-stroke. And at the final round of the year, he even tested Kawasaki's new 4-stroke 250.
Only comes out of the pack on that big 4-stroke, and he's going to pick up a hole shot with Nate Ramsey to his left.
And he dominated both races there as well.
Well, James, that is the way to close out a 125 career. That might have been the most convincing win of all, and you do it in your last race on a 250F.
Man, I tell you, man, it's been a great 125 career. You know, I broke the record, like you said earlier, for all the most wins in the season. And, man, I tell you, man, I'm going to miss this class. You know, it's moving uptown now, and I hope I can continue doing the same thing. And, you know, I just want to thank everybody. Thank you.
He was known as the greatest 125 racer of all time. He did things on that bike that others thought were impossible. One of those things was jumping the Rocco's Leap. That is a huge 120-foot triple jump at Redbud. Most 250 riders barely had enough power to clear it, and thought it almost impossible and too risky to do it on a 125. But James said, "Hold my monster." Giving him a massive advantage. I even tried to jump it on my video game MX vs ATV using a 125. Despite trying many times, I couldn't pull it off. Granted, I'm not very good at the game, but this was the closest I got, and it still was not enough. 2005.
I wish I could figure out what makes Bubba such an exceptional racer. He can make things happen on a motorcycle that other people just can't do.
This guy, I guess, is not from this world, actually.
From what I've seen, he's definitely got the most raw speed I've ever seen.
He's just yarding everybody and doing it with a smile on his face. It's like he's not even trying.
Stewart dominated the amateur ranks. This is his first season on the big bikes. He's expecting more of the same.
For the 2005 Supercross season, he moved up to the 250 Premier class with high anticipation. But he crashed during practice in the second round, breaking his forearm and having to sit out for most of the season. But he returned for the last 5 races of the season and was able to win 3 of them, showing his speed and future potential.
And it looks like it's 2005. James Stewart wins his first ever 250 main event. The crowd is on their feet. History has been made. James Stewart wins in Dallas.
Bubba, one happy young man, and Ricky Carmichael, one relieved young man. Look at Bubba.
And the 2005 motocross season had lots of potential, as he was one of the few riders that could actually challenge Ricky Carmichael. A memorable battle was in Unadilla, when Stewart accidentally jumped on Ricky Carmichael's back.
Lead downhill one more time, but there goes Bubba, his fast section. Oh! Lands on the back of Carmichael. Carmichael says, what are you doing?
James was out. He was out.
Ricky was not very happy about it. It left Stewart injured and knocked out with a concussion.
What took place there?
You have to ask him that. You know, it's just a shame. I don't know. I guess he thought he was going to jump on me and him not crash and me crash. And, you know, that's just dangerous. So I guess I just have to give him a little more room next time. It's just a bummer, you know. Now that's not a clean way to race.
But crashes and injuries eventually took him out of the season. He also had a major disadvantage, as he was still battling on a 252 stroke, when most had transitioned to the 454 strokes. 2006. In 2006, the 250 class officially became known as the 450 class, and even James Stewart was now on a Kawasaki 454 stroke. The 2006 Supercross was known for its rivalry between the big three, James Stewart, Ricky Carmichael, and Chad Reed. This was peak Supercross. Some of the best battles and craziest races happened this season. Ricky and James once lapped the entire field in a mud race.
Two Florida riders never giving up. They put the entire field down in a lap, Ralph.
And another time, RC flew off the track and hit a boat.
He's got the bike. He just kept on the gas. He clashes into a photographer. Down he goes.
James eventually ended up finishing second, right behind Ricky Carmichael. Those two had a lot of respect for each other.
And Ricky and James hug. What a battle it has been for the two of them throughout the season, and bows to the crowd, and we should be bowing to them for putting on such an incredible display of racecraft, skill, courage. It's been an amazing year.
He established himself as a fast competitor, winning 8 of the rounds. In the 2006 motocross season, he was also consistently fast, and one of the only ones that could battle and even beat Ricky Carmichael. He eventually finished 4th in the points after an injury took him out for a few races. James's ability to adapt to new motorcycles and new technology is what made him so great. He's one of the few riders that actually won on all the bikes, the 125 and 252 strokes, and the 250 and 454 strokes. 2007. 2007 was his time to shine. Ricky Carmichael just announced his retirement and said that he was only going to be racing a part-time season, so everyone was wondering who was going to take over as the new champ. Well, Bubba answered that question.
You can hear the crowd coming alive. Stewart around the inside.
What's this here?
Oh, here he comes. Guess what? James Stewart coming like a freight train. Look at him through the whoops.
By winning 13 of the 16 rounds, getting his first premier 450 Supercross championship.
He has won the Amped Mobile World Supercross GP Championship and the Amped Mobile AMA Supercross Series Championship as his father, Big James, celebrates on the sidelines. James Stewart's dream from when he was a little boy is complete.
Before the finals, James Stewart had already made it official. The fastest man in Supercross had clinched both the World Supercross GP and AMA titles.
To the final corner, and James Stewart will win in Orlando, and Ricky Carmichael will finish second in the final Amped Mobile Supercross race of his career, and an incredible, epic battle to the finish for these two amazing riders.
The 2007 motocross season started out good as he battled for wins.
Stewart closed the door. Ricky goes one side, Stewart the other.
Mega stars in the sport of motocross, and once again duking it out. This is for the moto win and for the overall.
He's down. Stewart is down.
But at Washougal, a knee injury took him out for the rest of the season, ultimately finishing 7th in points. 2008. The 2008 Supercross season started out strong, with a 2nd and a 1st place.
His first victory of 2008.
But he had to pull out of Supercross at round 3 to get surgery for a torn ACL.
I just been trying to suck it up every weekend, but every weekend it's just getting worse and worse. And then finally I went out there today, and a knee feels just really unstable, and it's to the point now there's nothing I can do about it except for get it fixed.
James had to take off the rest of the season to recover. To get ready for motocross, he decided to train with Alden Baker, Baker has a notoriously difficult training regimen. Many doubted if James would be able to come back from injury like that and still be just as competitive. But never doubt James Stewart. He did them all one better. In the 2008 motocross season, he went undefeated in all 24 motos for a perfect season.
Triple Crown of motocross, and now there it is. History has been made here in Steel City. A perfect 24 motos and 24 wins. The legend continues to grow. James Stewart has done it.
The only other racer to ever do that before was his rival Ricky Carmichael. Something that wouldn't be done again until Jet Lawrence in 2023.
I just didn't want to get to 23-0 and just blow it the last moto. And, you know, the track was definitely tricky. You know, it was really slippery, and, you know, I made a few mistakes out there. And, you know, I just tried to put some good laps in, you know, just something where I felt like comfortable going with the speed and stuff. And still able to get the job done, which is, you know, for me, was I was happy about that. But I was a little nervous.
It was a dominating season that solidified James Stewart as one of the best to ever do it. 2009. For the 2009 Supercross season, James Stewart switched to Yamaha with the San Manuel Yamaha racing team, starting his Yamaha years. And it was a long, fierce battle with his main rival, Chad Reed. He crashed in the first race.
Oh, he's down! They're both down! They got together, they're both down! And Stewart is down hard!
Yeah, guys, James Stewart is obviously extremely upset, probably a little dazed and confused. James, can you tell us what happened out there?
Crashed. So he had major catch-up to play.
To the checkered flag, he's going to take it. 6 wins in a row for James Stewart.
And intense battles with Reed happened all year long, fighting on track.
Oh, Stewart cuts to the inside, who takes the lead. Back to the inside. Oh, contact. And Stewart takes the lead away, but Reed comes right back.
And sometimes that fight continued off the track.
So I ended up winning the race, and he comes up to me and he put his hands on me, and like I did everything possible not to touch him. I remember like I'm gonna stare this guy in his eyes, like I'm gonna stare, and just in case he flinched, I'm gonna have to knock him out or something.
But he ended up winning 11 out of the 17 races. James ultimately won his second premier 450 Supercross championship at the last round of the season.
Here he comes, James Stewart. He will do it. He will win his second Monster Energy AMA Supercross and FIM World Championship in one of the wildest championship seasons in Supercross history. James Stewart is the man on the top step of the podium with the #1 plate.
And he did not compete in the 2009 motocross season because San Manuel was a Supercross-only team at the time. But he did get to compete in other things like the X Games. He got a silver medal for best whip. 2010. 2010 was nothing short of a disaster. After 3 rounds, he had a bad wrist injury that took him out for the rest of the Supercross season.
In the mid-pack.
Stewart is down! Down hard!
And a sharp pain went through my wrist.
The bone is broken. It needs surgery.
My season was done.
But in 2010, he treated fans to a new kind of entertainment.
I'm James Stewart, but some call me Bubba.
He had a reality TV show called Bubba's World, and I wish I was a fan around this time. I would have totally watched this show. Kind of reminds me of shows I watched as a teen on MTV, like The Osbournes and Viva La Bam. You get to see shenanigans that Stewart and his friends are up to, messing with his dad.
Rule number 1, not mess with my mule. Hey, you won't tail out on my mule.
His fancy cars, and you even get to see his little brother Malcolm when he was just a teenager. Look, here he is just trying to play Halo, but his mom keeps bugging him.
Get off the game! Now!
You get to see James taking full advantage of his time off by partying and hooking up with girls. So let me know if you guys watched this when it came out, because it looked like a blast. And when it was time for him to come back, James released a promotional video to explain why he had been gone from racing for so long.
People have been wondering why I haven't raced much this season. Today, I'm coming clean. After I got injured in January, my doctor said I might not be able to race again. So I started searching for something else to do in my life.
Oh yeah, check out my motorcycle. It's awesome. I like to go real fast. Ooh, wheelie. Ooh, wheelie.
Ooh, Willie. Ooh. What happened to the auto-tune?
You broke it.
Technology couldn't handle my vocal range, so I moved on.
And it is hilarious. It's like an SNL style video of him trying different jobs that he's just bad at before realizing he needs to go back to racing. 2011. In the 2011 Supercross, he showed his intensity and speed with early podiums and wins.
Is James Stewart back? You bet he is. He just won Phoenix to make a statement that he's ready to contest this 2011 championship.
Along with Reed, he had new competition, including the Ryans, Ryan Villopoto and Ryan Dungey. He was able to get 5 main event wins this season. He showed his unique ability to push the limits in a now iconic moment at Daytona Supercross. They built a wall jump in a straightaway intending to slow riders down. But James Stewart isn't one for slowing down. Using his speed and creativity, he shocked everyone when he pulled this off.
And that shoved him into
oh, look at he did it! I told you, Jeff, someone would do that.
Proving to everyone that he still has the speed. Unfortunately, a few laps after this, he crashed.
Here at Daytona. Stewart! He throws it away at Daytona again!
But crashes like in Daytona, Jacksonville, and Las Vegas left him out of championship contention, eventually ending 4th that year. Injuries would also make him sit out for the 2011 motocross season. 2012. For the 2012 Supercross season, he was still racing for Yamaha, but with a new team, Joe Gibbs Racing. He was still able to win 2 rounds that year, but struggled with bike setup and the new team. And it turns out he wasn't very happy with them. Even with all that, he had some impressive rides that showed the field what it was like to race James Stewart. In Phoenix Supercross, he was in 3rd place. He did a massive Bubba scrub over a jump to pass the 2 riders ahead of him at the same time and take the lead.
You were in the lead. Tell us about it. I mean, what happened?
They had the 2-for-1 special going on out there. So.
But with that speed on an unpredictable bike came crashes. And after he crashed in Houston,
He sits in 9th, and down he goes! James Stewart is down!
where he had his first serious thoughts about retiring from the sport.
But not a lot of people know, like when I crashed in Houston and I got up and like I'm kind of like rolling, like checking my body, like, oh, all right, I'm not broken. I can swing a golf club if I need to. And I got up and I sat on the hay bale and they had it on camera. Like I sitting there and I said, I'm done racing. That was it. James Stewart retired in 2012 at Houston Supercross. And I got up and I walked off the track. I left the bike, it was mangled.
It was a long walk.
Yeah.
But an opportunity came up to go race for Suzuki instead. So after 12 rounds, Stewart departed Joe Gibbs Racing for Yoshimura Suzuki in a mid-season switch.
If it wasn't for Mike Webb calling me and the issue that Suzuki was in looking for somebody, like I would have retired in 2012 on there, but got an opportunity. And I think it was like 3 weeks later, we was riding Suzuki. So
he was now racing Suzuki for the 2012 motocross season, where he dominated the first 2 rounds, going 4-0.
He has dominated here in Hangtown. Welcome back to motocross. Welcome back to Victory Lane, James Stewart.
Then he crashed at Thunder Valley, where he got a wrist injury that took him out of championship contention because he had to miss multiple rounds. 2013. Unfortunately, 2013 was a year plagued by injury. He tore his ACL on round 1 and rode the season on it. He was still able to pull off a victory in Atlanta, but took off the last few rounds to heal, finishing 10th that season. For the motocross season, he had some impressive races, especially in the middle of the season. At Muddy Creek, he showed the whole world what a true Bubba scrub looked like.
Stewart, it takes over 3rd. Stewart tries to get him back. Classic Bubba scrub there.
He made a pass on Mike Alessi, where he scrubbed so hard that the handlebars practically dragged on the ground. But injuries still plagued him, and he still ended up finishing an impressive 5th. But after healing up, Stewart did come back and win the postseason Monster Energy Cup, proving that he still had the speed and ability when he's healthy. 2014. The 2014 Supercross season was highly competitive. Stewart was looking really fast and had a wild crash at round 1 in Anaheim.
His belt. Stewart has
Stewart loses it the whoops.
He played catch-up and stayed in championship contention. He scored 5 more victories this season, with his most notable at the Toronto Supercross, where he got a horrible start and was down to around 15th place at the beginning of the race. He then put on a clinic for the rest of the field, passing everyone one by one. He eventually took the lead for his 49th career victory.
James Stewart, career win number 49, and it comes with an impressive ride. He is now second, all by himself, on the all-time win list.
He was in championship contention, but his last 2 Supercross rounds, he was disqualified. This was because in April, he took a routine drug test, but he failed it due to testing positive for amphetamines. And this is because he was on Adderall for ADHD. But even though he had a legal prescription for it, he didn't fill out the proper paperwork to get the exception from the AMA. The possibility of getting suspended was with him throughout the motocross season, which he actually did really good at, with the results of the 1-1 sweep at High Point. But ultimately, he pulled out early after hearing final news about his suspension. The AMA decided on a 16-month suspension from the sport, retroactive to April 2014.
Yeah, the suspension. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, that sucks. And I don't know if I said it before or whatnot, so I know I said it to other people, but for sure that suspension basically ruined the rest of my career, any kind of comeback. I'm not a cheater. They even know, the people who suspended me knows I'm not a cheater. But the way the rules are, and they were, or they still are, it just showed how unprofessional, the lack of accountability we all have. I mean, I made a mistake by not submitting paperwork. They made a mistake by not letting us know. It was a lot of things that happened to where it was a bummer, and I think it cost a lot of people, including myself, more chances to see me race, and win. I definitely wouldn't be sitting at 50 wins right now. It'd be more than that. So
2016. So for the 2016 Supercross season, finally James Stewart is back after a suspension. At the A1 opener, he was battling up front.
Second lap of the main event, I end up getting taken out by Dungey.
Around Stewart, and Dungey goes right into Stewart. Oh, down is James Hard.
But when he hit me and I got knocked out, that was it. I didn't realize it then, but that was I guess the end of me being James Stewart in a sense.
He tried multiple times to compete, but with blurred vision, he ultimately had to sit out to recover. In the motocross season, he also had a bad crash in the season opener and hurt his shoulder. He appeared for 2 more races after that, but was never fully healthy. His last race was at Washougal in 2016, where he finished 15th. 2019. After a few years of the possibility of coming back, he officially retired in 2019.
I think it's time to say, I'm retired. I'm retired. And it's hard, for sure. It's hard because I love racing, and I love the fans. I love the opening ceremonies. I love people cheering for me. I love the autograph lines. But I don't miss the sweat and tears of training and having to feel like you got to win every race, and having to be James Stewart. I don't love doing that anymore because I have a son and I have kids, and that's my responsibility now.
And for a few years after that, no one really heard from or saw James Stewart. He really had just put all his time into raising his kids. Also, I think he needed the time off because he felt like the sport that he had given his life to had let him down. But in 2002, James Bubba Stewart was officially inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Being inducted tonight is the perfect time for me personally because I'm in a place in life where I can actually enjoy this and kind of understand what I've accomplished and what this means. Just thinking about where I started at, in 1145 Carefree Go Drive, with my mom and dad. driving my neighbors crazy, around in the backyard, and just being different. I was told I don't belong. I was told I was different. I always used to say we looked the same in the helmet. I was told we wouldn't make it. I wouldn't make it. All I could say truly is, if you have a dream, live it.
Today, James is more involved in SMX again. You'll see him as an announcer on the broadcast with Ricky Carmichael and others at a select few races. He also has one of the best moto podcasts on YouTube called Bubba's World, using the same name from his TV show.
What's up, guys? You know who it is, your boy JS7.
He drops new episodes usually on Tuesday, or as I like to call it, Stewsday. So definitely check it out. But it seems like he's finally happy and really enjoying retirement and just being a father. Here are some less known things that I found out about James Stewart. James Stewart almost had a Hollywood film about his life. The filmmaker Sam Jones actually went to Anaheim 1 in 2002 and saw the debut of James Stewart, and immediately wanted to make a movie about James with producer Tom Cruise. They wanted to make a Days of Thunder type movie, but with Supercross. And after having the script and casting done, the Stewarts started to grow weary of how Hollywood would treat them, and kind of put it on hold.
And I think it scared them. I think Hollywood scared them.
Well, a few years later, they finally decided to do it. But by then, the studio and Tom Cruise were no longer interested and moved on to other movies.
One of the great sort of heartbreaks of my professional career is not getting to make that movie.
Why did it break your heart? Why do you?
Because it was a story I knew so well. I knew how to tell it, and I'd lined up all the right pieces, and I poured 4 years into it, and I wanted to make that film so bad.
Yeah.
More than any other film I've ever wanted to make, I wanted to make that story. That was hard.
That would have done amazing things for the sport of Supercross if they had a big Hollywood film about James Stewart. James Stewart is featured in a music video from a rapper named David Banner in the song Crank It Up. You can see him riding around in the background and doing tricks for them.
Crank it up, crank it up, crank it up, crank it up, crank it up. Let me, I gotta.
It looked like they had a lot of fun. And in 2011, James was actually arrested for impersonating a police officer. He had those red and blue lights on the top of his car and were pulling people over, but he accidentally pulled over an off-duty police officer and was busted. But he took responsibility for it and publicly apologized. This was before writers like Hayden Deegan, who could even turn getting arrested into good PR. James Stewart is featured on the cover of one of my motocross books called Motocrosser, also with Travis Pastrana. But it goes over all the big names in the sport, and James is the last rider featured. The book was made in 2003, so it only talks about him being a promising rookie. But it's really cool. I wish James would make a dedicated autobiography or something, because I love reading books, and there don't seem to be a whole lot of motocross ones. So I hope you guys enjoyed going over James Stewart's wild career. And please let me know, what was your favorite parts about his career? What were some of your favorite races or moments that left you speechless? Even though he's not racing anymore, the memories of him will live forever, as he is a legend in the sport of SMX.